It works like this. For the first 42 days and 42 nights, you're supposed to take the baby home and keep it alive. By alive, I don't mean the feeding, rocking, bathing, and diaper changing, or the part where you stick your finger under the baby's nose every 17 minutes to check if it's breathing. I mean alive as in keeping your agitated, swirling, fire engine scream thoughts inside your head and out of your tingling hands so that you don't actually do what you imagine yourself doing. Let your baby roll off the changing table. On the 43rd day, 6 weeks out, you splash cold water on your face, slap on some deodorant, and make your way into the city to see Dr. Garber. For me, this involved rubbing my non-pregnant stomach, rocking side to side, and singing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star under my breath in the cab, even though the baby was home with my husband. Inside, the waiting room feels like an ER, and the phones sound like car alarms. Dr. Garber's receptionist hands you the Edinburgh Postnatal Depression Scale. It's a 10-question test on a clipboard hidden by a plastic privacy cover. Why? Because really there is nothing more important than your medical privacy when you're leaking breast milk with sweat popping out of every pore, wearing the clothes you slept in last night and the night before. The test is supposed to tell you how sad or anxious you really are, as if you needed someone to tell you. You can lie in the test, go home and cry alone, which some of us do. Or you can be honest and do what I did. Join Dr. Garber's postpartum depression group and add your Kleenex to the pile. Now it's my 4th meeting. We're gathered elbow to elbow, 9 of us around a chipped conference room table on the 2nd floor of Dr. Garber's downtown office. We meet every Tuesday at 11. The view around the table looks like this. Spit-up stained nursing tops, greasy ponytails, baggy maternity jeans, giant coffee cups, bloodshot eyes, and balled-up tissues. We are the scary mommies, as Cheryl calls us. Cheryl has been coming to our group for almost 5 months, and her baby is already eating solid food. We call her Cheryl 27, after her highest score on the Edinburgh scale. It goes up to 30, but the doctors flag you with any score over 13. As far as anyone knows, Cheryl holds the group record. For someone with postpartum depression, she wears amazing red lip gloss. Today I end up near the dry erase board sitting next to her. She's the only person in the group I've talked to before. "Hey, how's things?" she asks me. "Good, good." My voice comes out high and loud. Cheryl nods so emphatically her chair squeaks. I can't think of anything else to say back that will sound normal. If what they say is true, that postpartum depression can make you self-conscious in social settings, then Cheryl and I are nailing it. I take a sip of coffee, looking for something to do with my hands, but forget that I finished it and get a mouthful of sugar sludge and coffee grinds. I want to tell Cheryl that I've scored 27 too, that it's never been anything lower, that my hands shake from too much caffeine, that I'm dizzy from breastfeeding for hours without eating or drinking, that my forehead and armpits are drenched from the anxiety of being outside the house without my 2.5-month-old son. Instead, I inspect a hangnail on my thumb and pump my leg, trying to let the pause of silence between us be what it's going to be. Cheryl takes a knitting project out of her bag, a beautiful pair of pale yellow booties, and counts stitches. We sit like this for a few moments, listening to the clank of the heating pipes. There's a knock on the conference room door. It's Violet, and she's blowing on a cup of herbal tea, smiling diffusely into the room. Violet's the social worker who runs our meetings. "Why does she do that?" asks Cheryl. "Knock." I mean, it's not like we're changing into hospital gowns, waiting to find out if we have cancer. Dr. Garber introduced Violet to us as Ms. Chernoff, but none of us call her that, maybe because she looked 12 without her white lab coat. I'm not saying it's her fault or that she's not bright, but it's hard to stomach how unencumbered and pulled together she looks, standing in front of us, and how disheveled and overwhelmed we seem in comparison. Everything about her, down to her chunky heels, neutral sweater sets, and on-trend accessories, says that she hasn't taken any hits in life. We, the scary mommies, are her first job. "So how are we doing today? Who'd like to start?" Violet asks. We start each meeting this way with a check-in. You pick one low point and one high point from the week to share with the group. A frequent low point, the baby cried. A frequent high point, the baby slept. I sit on my hands, my legs pistons under the table, worrying about what I'll say when it's my turn. I want it to be something in the middle, away from the margins. Otherwise, they might send me home or else decide I need to be hospitalized. Worse than a crying jag, but not like cutting into the skin of your inner thighs with baby nail clippers, which we found out last time is Cheryl's area of expertise. Cheryl's been there and back, and medication has her on the right side of it for now. Last Tuesday, I yelled at an old lady in line behind me at the grocery store for smiling at me for too long, with her head cocked to one side. No one smiles at you like that unless it looks like you need it. Never mind that I hadn't left the house in days, that my eyelids looked like deflated marshmallows, that I've been the kind of lonely that you can't admit to because you're afraid people will think something's wrong with you. I want to know what the others are going to say first before I volunteer that story. I'll go. This comes from Sue, a woman sitting in the far corner near the window, still wearing her winter hat and coat. She starts in about the witching hour, the time of day when you're exhausted and babies are most irritable. It's like they cry in the perfect key to torture you. Sue's voice comes out in a low rasp, and she forces a laugh, digging her hands into her pockets and fidgeting with her gloves. Her hairline is receding at the temples, and she's got her hair brushed forward to cover it, but you can see patches of red spreading across her cheeks. So what happened? Violet asks, writing the word triggers on the dry erase board. Violet stands perfectly still. The room gets quiet, and outside we can hear the nurses and sonogram technicians ordering pizza for lunch. Sue is home alone one night and tries everything. Nursing, rocking, lullabies, a drive in the car, and can't get her baby to stop crying. She puts the baby down and takes a shower. That's what they tell us to do when you feel yourself sinking. As Sue is telling us this, I'm thinking about 3 a.m. last Sunday. How I took my wailing son in my arms and scrunched up my eyes, stuck my tongue out, bit into my fists and arms, and yelled into my pillow. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror the next day. The day after that, I was afraid to be alone with the baby. I'm waiting for Sue to say that she parked herself in the bathtub for an hour with the shower spraying her in the face to drown out her baby's cries. Or better yet, that she stuck earplugs in her ears, pulled the covers over her head, and went to sleep. Before Sue can say anything else, the door swings open and Dr. Garber pokes his head in. He's come from the hospital and he's wearing a bandana and OR scrubs. He asks us how breastfeeding is going and can't seem to remember why we're all there. He blows air kisses to each of us, rattles the ice in his empty iced coffee cup, and sets down a huge aluminum pan of noodle kugel in the middle of the table.